Good morning, everybody. This is Jake from Jake Sports Takes. How's everybody doing? It's a little rainy here in Iowa. Uh, we got some breaking news from the NFL. Before I get to the trade deadline deals, who I think is a winner, who I think is a loser, who potentially bolstered their roster for the playoff push. In the NFL, out of the NFL, we got two re-signings. Zay Flowers just broke about an hour ago. 4 years, $105 million extension with the Baltimore Ravens. It was a good call, locking up on their number one target for 4 more years. Good job by them. Good, smart move. And finally, Bijan Robinson. There, everybody can hush hush now. Bijan Robinson going to re-sign 3 years, $75 million with the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to get to the trade deadline deals. Some of them went down. I'll get to some of the bigger ones. We'll go down the list. Some of them, there were a lot more, but I'm going to get to some of the big ones. Tigers getting Cash Mansfield and Jackson Wolf from the Padres for Casey Mize and Gage Workman. A couple of pitchers to offset the Skubal trade. Of course, Skubal is that's not gonna help. But the Brewers, Antonio Sansalina with Colorado, Mark Manfredi and Juan Martinez. The D-backs and Cardinals made a trade. Guy named Newthbar, I think he's a relief pitcher. Egan Santana, and a player to be named later. Fortunately, my Nets made a couple trades. Foster Griffin, who I didn't want to see go, but they probably can't re-sign him if they're going to go after re-sign Abrams and Wood. Went to the Guardians for Hortel Dion, Vizquez, and Mitchell. One's an outfielder, 3-year relief pitchers. Guardians were pretty busy, and Nathaniel Lowe is going to Cleveland for Rivera, I believe, another pitcher. Astros made a pretty good-sized trade. Dalton Varsho and is going to Houston for Spencer Agarati to the Jays. Cubs made a couple splashes. Clay Holmes from the Mets for Jefferson Rojas. The Brewers and Cardinals made an interdivision trade. Frias and Ragsdale will go to St. Louis for Dusty May and JoJo Romero. Shoring up Milwaukee's bullpen for the push. Probably the biggest one of the day, if not the second biggest one of the entire trade deadline. Adley Rushman, all-star catcher. And Jake Rogers and Cash will go to Boston for a couple of young pitchers, some young prospects. Robbie Ray will go in another interdivisional trade. Go to the San Diego Padres. For Mendez, Joniel Hernandez to the Giants. A couple of prospects. Guardians, Joe Adell will go to Cleveland, and the Angels will go Jacob Cozart. Probably the second biggest trade or the third biggest trade. Probably the second biggest trade. Luis Arez and Caleb Killen will go to Philadelphia for Marquez and Gare. And Kevin Gausman will go to the Cubs. Very reliable starting pitcher. Playoff experience. He'll go to the Chicago Cubs for Bateman and Salcine. Not a bad, interesting deal. In my opinion, who won the deadline there was a couple teams. Milwaukee, I thought, kind of busted out, even though they got some relief pitching. They needed that, but they kind of busted out. In my opinion, they could have gotten a shortstop. They could have gotten another piece they needed. But unfortunately, when Skubal went off the market, it kind of shot down a little bit. Philadelphia, I believe, got some good people. Arez and Bryce Harper, for the first time in probably 4 years, played is back in right field for them. Cleveland made a huge splash. The Cubs made a big splash. I mean, there's a lot of teams you can say are winners. Do I think the Nationals lost? Yes and no. You let Garcia, you trade Garcia and you trade Foster Griffin. But in the same account, you're trying to get James Wood and C.J. Abrams locked up. With that being said, next year could be a lockout year. Could be a strike year. Because people are getting sick and tired of seeing the same teams getting the superstar players to make a playoff push. It could work. It could backfire. We'll see what happens. We've seen it backfire before. Do I think the Nats made the smart move? I mean, he's 31 years old. Only has his main pitch is a cutter or a sweeper. His fastball's at 91. It makes sense, but he is 12-3 with a high 2 ERA. I mean, a 2.83 ERA. The Nationals are probably out of it now after losing again last night. It's just their bullpen. They gave up a grand slam. That cost them, the Nats. They aren't completely out of it. They're 4.5 back. Do they have a shot? Yes, not a big one. Not with the moves they made. But still got about a month or so in this a couple months in the season. So we'll see. But there were a lot of teams that made splashes. A lot of teams that are in a wild card slot or trying to continue to be in those wild card slots. Now remember, this is a best of 3 wild card series. So you win 2 games, you're into the next round. Probably going to have to play a buzzsaw, but we'll see what happens. I just want to let you guys know I did have my interview yesterday at Chili's. It sounds good. The hosting gig may not happen. I may have to reapply later this month or early September if I want to do a hosting gig because of the college kids figuring out their schedules. But what may happen is I may be a dishwasher. Now, the saving grace of that is I'm still going to get paid the same amount, get the same amount of hours. They're going to be fair. Do I want the hosting gig? Yes. But do I want to be, do I want to be a dishwasher full time? No. I can maybe ask and see if I can move over to where I originally applied for. We'll see. I hope I get it. I'll find out in a couple days. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony, if you are curious, is, I believe, Saturday. Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees, the main event attractions on the Hall of Fame. There are a lot of guys, I believe. I just read this online on my Instagram. There are a lot of guys who should be in. Willie Anderson should be in. Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne. Oh, Adam Vinatieri is going to be in this year as well. One of the first only kickers to be in besides Ray Guy, who is also a punter. But do I think some of those guys should be in? Yes. Eventually, it shouldn't be long before some of them get in. Eli Manning is another one. But we'll see what happens. The NFL Hall of Fame, kind of a joke, but we'll see. I don't have actually any Stump the Snake trivia questions. I just have an opinion on some of these things. And I want you guys to follow me on Instagram. Duke Nats Texans Fan 11 at Jake Sports Takes on YouTube. Drop your opinions. Who you think won the won and lost trade deadline? Anybody has an opinion? Like I said, my Instagram is at Duke Nats Texans Fan 11 and at Jake Sports Takes on YouTube. Everybody have a safe day. It's a little wet out here in Iowa. Have a safe day. Everybody have a great day. I love you guys. Bottom of my heart. And peace out, my nerds. And as we do it on Jake Sports Takes, hugs and hand pounds, everybody. Love you guys.